Now, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like I've been attending Zoom University for a while now. After last semester and all of our classes being moved to online, this semester a majority of my classes have online components, and I just know how difficult it can be. I hope this presentation will help your transition to virtual groups and teams because I've lived through it, and these are some tips I have for you. The three components that I will be highlighting are collaboration, sharing information, and virtual communication. Now let's take a further look at virtual communication. Some advantages are you do not have to be in the same space as everyone. You guys can be on your couches, in your beds, in the kitchen, wherever, but you all are united through this virtual meeting. And as well, there's not necessarily a limit for who can be in on a meeting. I've had meetings where there's 4 people all the way up to 30. Different websites, I'm going to use Zoom for example because that's what I'm the most familiar with, allows for different tools to be utilized. So one of those tools could be screen share, and you can like share different things on your screen, whether that be like presentations, like a video, a sound, just a picture, a meme, whatever really. As well, you can dress however you want from the waist down because no one's going to see it. So you could be business in the front and party on the bottom, kind of like a mullet. Some disadvantages would be outside distractions, whether that be different people, pets, noises like construction, really anything that could distract you from what is going on at hand. Poor internet connection allows people to not be able to access Teams or meetings virtually. As well, virtual meetings and communication has like a lack of relationships. You can't really build as much as you would if you were face to face and in person. With that, it's harder to read nonverbals as well. Some solutions that I have for this are know going in that like the process will take longer to build and form relationships. So I'd recommend doing like an icebreaker or something fun at the beginning of these virtual meetings just to get to know everyone a little bit better and kind of break the ice. As well, let the person who's talking know that you're paying attention by doing extra things like nodding your head, giving a thumbs up or an okay sign. You also, again, I'm going to mention Zoom, you can do chat, so you can chat a person individually or you can chat everyone. It really doesn't matter. And if you're the one talking, make sure you're clear and flexible. So some suggestions that I have for you with verbal communication and or virtual communication and nonverbals is amplify. So I want you to exaggerate the expression of an emotion so that what is displayed is more than what is felt. So you can use multiple channels to express this emotion, whether that be with your face, your gestures, your voice, or your gaze even. Moving on, let's switch topics to sharing information. So some advantages to this is having open communication allows the group to avoid misunderstanding, which is what something that you do not want for your group. Avoiding that increases the effectiveness of your group, and as well, when everyone is in the loop, there's no stragglers, so everyone is in this together. Some disadvantages is what exactly needs to be shared. So what one person might find valuable to share, another person might not. And then the information that you're sharing needs to be reliable and backed up with data. Some solutions to this would be create specific channels for communication, whether that be through GroupMe or Snapchat or Facebook, an email chain, or your phone numbers. Just create those channels that work like your group can have to discuss different things. As well, from day one, establish those boundaries so you know like what is important and what is unimportant for the group, or appropriate or inappropriate. The next thing I'm going to move on to, and the last thing, is collaboration. So some advantages for that. This is all from our book, Communication in Small Groups by Steve Beebe and John Masterson, 2020. So the advantages that they list is it allows for more information, there's an enhanced creative problem solving because there's more people, greater comprehension among the group, enhanced satisfaction, and enhanced self-understanding. A word that they used was social facilitation, which is the tendency for people to work harder simply because other people are present. So if I'm working hard, that means you're going to work hard. Some disadvantages is it allows pressure to conform. So if there's 4 people in a group and 3 out of the 4 want to do something, then that 4th person is just going to conform because everyone else is doing it. As well as individual domination, that's where one person just takes completely over. Uneven work distribution is another thing, where one person can be doing all the work or one person is doing none of the work. And as well as time. You want the time to be spent doing things working together and not separate doing your own thing. Some solutions that I have for you is encourage critical, independent thinking. Make sure you're sensitive to the status that may affect decision making. And one thing I think with that is like introverts and extroverts. As well, make room for everyone to speak. Call upon the introverts if you're more extroverted. Allow yourself to be able to speak and have room for that. As well, do not abdicate your responsibility to another group member. Make sure each person knows the goals and objectives. Make those clear from the get-go so everyone knows the role and the task at hand. As well, use the agenda. There have been so many meetings that we just get an agenda at the beginning and it lays out everything that we'll be going through for that hour or whatever. Lays out the tasks, lays out upcoming events that we need to be aware of, what we're going to get done, what we're going to talk about, and that is very beneficial for group work. Some theories that I have involving collaboration, I found these on Communication Theories on a website that was published on January 29th, 2013. So groupthink, they list as when groups make faulty decisions because they fail to critically analyze their options and weigh their alternatives. This typically occurs in highly cohesive groups who are more concerned with maintaining a group unity than finding the best option. And I associated that with the pressure to conform that I mentioned earlier as a disadvantage. So you want to not really groupthink, like you want to be able to think on your own and then come together. The second theory is the social learning theory, and that argues that people learn from each other through observing, imitating, and modeling the behaviors, attitudes, and emotional reactions of others. Social learning theory explains how human behavior can be shaped by continuous reciprocal interaction between cognitive, behavioral, and environmental influences. And I associated that with a social facilitation, which again was like if you're doing something, then someone else is going to be doing the equivalent. So if you're goofing off, then that allows other people to think they can goof off. In conclusion, here are my sources, but in conclusion, the three ways that I mentioned were collaboration, sharing information, and virtual communication. And I hope this helps you the next time that you have to do anything virtually, whether that be with a group or a class or a meeting. Just thinking of these things and using the tips that I gave you and applying these concepts, I think your experience will be a lot more beneficial.